Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan is talking about how banks and other institutions will work with the crypto business so that they can offer crypto products to their clients. Brian Moynihan from Bank of America will also be talking about how to add their own safe coin. And finally, we'll talk about why banks will build their infrastructure with Ripple, XRP, and RLUSD. Time is of the essence here, and if you're the last one to the plate or the last one to get there, you might not have any people left. Over the next few years, banks and other institutions will put a lot of effort into it. We are in the middle of it all. Let us find out this information together. In the past few months, JP Morgan and traditional finance have become more similar. For example, you announced yesterday that Chase customers can use credit cards to fund their Coinbase accounts. On Investor Day, you said that clients could buy Bitcoin even though you had warned them not to. And JPMD is a stablecoin-like token. How common do you think crypto will be in traditional banking, and do you think there will be any risks as the links between these two worlds grow? To begin, there has never been a new financial offering that didn't talk about risk. In other words, stress is going to risk, and not all the rules are written yet. Think about the rules that go along with it, like AML, BSA, Know Your Customer, KYC, and reports. When they say stablecoin, which is what we'll have, in a hurry, they haven't written down the rules for it yet. Banks have been waiting for this. Keep in mind that this is, everyone thinks that all banks have been working on this tech for years. Actually, only the biggest banks have been building in the background. This is because if laws change and the technology you've built doesn't work with the new laws, you have to start all over again. This is the reason why many medium-sized to small banks and credit unions did nothing until these rules were written. With the Genius Act in place, banks can say, this is what it needs to be built around. And that's exactly what they're doing behind the scenes right now. Going from Chase to Coinbase, people can do more because of us. We think it's good that they decided on how to use our APIs. We'll be there and see what happens. That makes no sense to me. For the past few years, you've been able to move money from Chase to Coinbase, right? I've used Chase and Coinbase together since about 2021. Okay. We already have the JP Morgan coin, so it's kind of like sending you something that doesn't need to be sent. We have already moved money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We moved $10 trillion every day, very quickly, safely, and successfully, thanks to all the cyber protection and other things like that. You will tell me at some point that you don't want my mutual fund if I send you a safe coin. Send me money, and I'll spend it however I like. And maybe stable coins can do some things that regular cash can't, like being programmed. There's a chance I can send you a safe coin. After that, you can send it to 10 different providers. At some point, you'll tell me, well, I don't want your mutual fund. Send me cash. That's right, Jamie Dimon is talking about how banks can send their own safe coins to each other. The safe coin of the other bank will not be touched by any banks. What do you need in the middle of all these stable coins? You will end up with the same siloed system we have now if you just make sure that each bank has its own safe coin. It will be a little faster, but nothing will work with anything else. Here's why having a bridge asset in the middle might be important for all of this tech to work. That is XRP's saving grace here, in my opinion. And it's something that people often forget when they say bad things about Ripple or XRP. When it comes to these stable coins, they don't know what they're talking about. How do you think that stable coin might be something I can send you? Then you can send it to 10 different sellers you want to pay regularly or something. We'll use it and be in it. That being said, we will do it if the buyers want to use it and make sure it is used correctly. The customer wants it. JP Morgan doesn't want that to happen. In that case, it seems like both private credit and Bitcoin are fine. To cut to the chase, I love Jamie, Dibby, and Benny, since banks and other financial companies are the reason, right? Wait a minute, I guess I proved that. I already told you before I planned to do this, but pay attention. This is the reason JP Morgan has a lot of money. Take a look at this information. JP Morgan doesn't say how much profit they make each year from just payments, but the segment's $18.1 billion in sales probably means a few $1 billion in after-tax profit. This is only the total CIB profit, which includes payments and other operations. Every year, JP Morgan makes a lot of money by letting smaller banks use its lines to move money. Every day, they move $10 trillion. They don't have to pay for everything themselves, right? So JP Morgan needs to figure out how to make up this few $1 billion shortfall, right? While we don't know the exact amount, JP Morgan likely makes a few $1 billion a year after taxes. You also look at people like Brian Moynihan and other big bank CEOs. Some big banks want to release stable coins because they think that laws will be more crypto-friendly, right? This is what we saw in the middle of July. There are some big US banks like Bank of America and Citibank that are working on releasing their own safe coins at the same time that the country wants to make crypto-friendly rules. These things are even being talked about by Brian Moynihan. This is the video. We can be pretty sure that there will be a steady CON. This coin will be fully backed by the dollar, just like a money market fund. Getting to the check account is pretty much the same as getting to a bank account. So if they make that legal, we'll start that business. Indeed, you will have a BA Bank of America coin in a US deposit, and we will be able to move them back and forth because it's not been against the law to do so up until now. It's just like any other foreign cash. It will be interesting to find out what it can be used for. There will definitely be a stable. Some banks and other financial companies might not even know how they can use this in a lot of different ways. Banks are having the most trouble right now with the clock. There is tough competition for them, especially from the biggest banks that have the most money to spend on this. So why do you think banks will pick Ripple and XRP? Let me help you with this. I've already made films about this, but it's very important to know now. Here are the steps that US banks need to take to make a stablecoin. Strategic planning and support from the top. Explain what the stablecoin is for. Is it going to be for funds, DeFi, or disputes within the company? Make sure that leaders are on the same page and teach stakeholders about the regulatory and technological environment. Regulatory engagement and compliance also work directly with federal and state officials because of changing rules, such as the Genius Act and Stable Acts, which now need one-to-one reserves, regular audits, and strong user protections. This is the reason Tether is a little scared. It's hard for them to make an audit, and this will keep bad people from coming to our country. Some parts of the Genius Act do make it possible for these bad people to get in. As technology changes, I hope they'll take that into account, figure out if you need to get new licenses or make hangas to existing ones, and then make compliance rules that fit those needs, getting talented people and improving their skills. If you need blockchain developers, digital asset risk experts, or SE, that means you need to hire a whole team to come in. It has to help you build what you want. They need to plan their move. Choose a blockchain platform like Ethereum or XRP Ledger. Make smart contracts for minting and burning, reserve management and access control, add safe custodial systems for fiat or asset-backed reserves, and do full security audits before launch. They need to check it out. They need to make sure it works. Are you sure they have to test it in a sandbox? Because it could be very bad for the bank if they start a product after spending billions of dollars on it and then it fails very quickly. Also, you should know that banks that build their own technology and infrastructure will be the ones to take all the danger. What about technology that you just started building and haven't had a chance to test? How does that compare to something like the XRP Ledger or even Ethereum, which has been around for more than 10 years and has been proven to be safe? These technologies have been tried by banks and other financial institutions to show that they work. That's something that banks will also think about. Monitoring during launch and after launch, get people to use the use case and teach them about it. Reserve ratio, smart contract security, and compliance with live reporting and officials are all constantly being watched. To make sure that everything works, the bank has to hire a whole team of people over and over again. It would cost a lot to do that. Instead, you could work with Ripple, Fireblocks, or Circle to get all of this done. But here's the schedule that most people don't think about. Ready for regulation, 3 to 12 months, 3 to 6 months for talent and skills, technical review and build, 6 to 12 months. For 3 to 6 months, work on partnerships and the environment. From scratch to start, it takes 1 to 2 years. Okay, 1 to 2 years? This is just the start of a stable coin. Putting together the whole system for your bank could make this take a little longer. Right now, banks are fighting directly for customers and market share. Do you think they will wait 12 to 18 months, or will they just call Ripple and ask, hey, do you have time for a meeting? Man, connect us. That's pretty much what we're talking about here. But you get the idea, right? There are contracts, lawyers, and a lot of other things. These blockchain technology companies will be needed. And Ripple is one of the best companies in the US that builds blockchain technology, right? It took 4 years as part of a case that tried to find any dirt they could. What did the US government find? Not very far. $125 million, and they look stupid, right? The lawyers trying to bring charges against Ripple, Brad, and Chris were scolded by the judges every time they were called to court because they didn't have a strong case. They could have shut down Ripple a long time ago if they did. Okay. The OCC has also made it clear to banks and other financial institutions that they can hold safe coins. At this point, US banks can hold stable coins, check that they are valid, and store crypto trillions that will soon move into Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and of course, everything else.